Welcome back to Love 101. This is chapter 3. We're talking about attraction. And as I mentioned in the last chapter, this is step 1 of love. It begins with attraction, but as I also explained, this is not just about physical beauty, about someone you think is really beautiful or really, sexy or something like that. It can be any kind. You can take an interest in them. They can be funny. They can be enjoyable, they fill some need of yours, or just a connection. Or maybe they're similar to you, and so they mirror back yourself and they help you experience yourself better. These are all valid ways to be attracted to someone. And one of the greatest things about attraction is it is a catalyst. I really love that word. If you're not super familiar with chemistry, what a catalyst is something that comes along and it helps foment, kind of encourages a chemical reaction, but it doesn't take away anything from itself to increase this reaction going on. So the way your brain is built on rewards. And when you find something, when the brain finds something that it wants more of, safety, love, pleasure, then it rewards you for when you get it, and it motivates you to want to try to get more of that. On the other hand, it also rewards you to avoid risks, because the subconscious mind is all about survival of the species. So it wants you to not take risks, and it wants you to have enough to eat, and it wants you to procreate. That's basically your subconscious mind's priorities, which is a big mess. It really complicates your life so much, but that's a whole other course. So when you find yourself attracted to someone for whatever reason, then your brain actually rewards you to go and invest in that relationship. So it spurs you on. So that's a great thing about attraction. And another thing about it, as I've sort of hinted at, attraction is kind of like love stem cells. It's the beginning. It's just and these stem cells can turn into various different kinds of love. They can go in different directions. And so we're going to talk in this chapter a little bit about some of those directions it can go, so that as it happens to you, as you find yourself attracted to someone, or if you want to do this intentionally and become more attracted to people who you want to build relationships with, and of whatever type and love, you'll know how to do it. So one type is, of course, let's just talk about romantic love. That's one of everyone's favorites. So you find somebody who's attractive for, again, whatever reason, sense of humor, kindness, or just a most beautiful symmetrical face you've ever seen, and suddenly you want to spend time with them. You want to connect. You want to generate a relationship. Now, if they're really beautiful, a lot of people will assume that, they're so beautiful and they want them so much that it actually frightens you away, doesn't it? It intimidates you. We have this weird assumption in our world that if someone's more beautiful and more attractive than you are, then they're worth more and they deserve someone who's equally attractive. And if you don't think you're that attractive, well, they're just out of your league. Well, a lot of people think about that way about themselves as well. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know how attractive they are, or at least how attractive they are to you. And who knows, maybe they'll find some reason, whether you have a less symmetrical face but a better sense of humor or whatever, to find you attractive. So understanding this can give you a leg up. It can give you it's like a stepping stone, because you can stand on there and say, hey, I can give it a shot, because if I'm confident, holy cow, confidence is one of the most attractive traits anybody can have, because especially anyone who's less confident, they want to feel that way. And if you walk in and you're just open and confident, it helps them to mirror your behavior, and it makes them feel more confident too. And so they enjoy being around you, and hey, that makes you attractive. That gives you value. So that can help. On the other hand, if you're attracted to someone who already is really confident, maybe they're relieved to meet someone else who's confident, so they don't have to play all these games and everyone's all nervous. Oh, you're so beautiful. Please, will you talk to me? And so they can relax and just be themselves. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to fall in love and have a great relationship, live happily ever after by any means, but it's a start. And that's all attraction is it's a start. So next time you meet someone and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in love, you haven't even talked to them yet, well, just realize you're not in love yet. But it's a good start. So enjoy it, make the most of it, and take it to step 2. Invest a little time. Go talk to him. Maybe you have to get your courage up or prepare, whatever. But if you don't actually do something about it, it's not going to go anywhere. So just be aware of that. If you want it to give it a chance to become a relationship of some kind, you're going to have to meet him, talk to him, do something, work together, invest, however you want to do that. Here's another key. When people realize that you're attracted to them, it makes them feel safer. It makes them feel, well, sometimes it can make them feel nervous if they've got their own psychological issues, which is common. If they're nervous that they don't love themselves, they don't value themselves as much. When someone gives them attention, they might think, oh no, now I'm going to be judged. Am I good enough? It might trigger something. But generally, if you're comfortable and give them their space and you're interested in them, you ask questions and you're not just, so many people, they go in and they try and impress other people, right? They're like, hey, look how cool I am. Look at all my achievements. Look at these guns. Woo, baby. And they're trying to look attractive because they have this basic understanding that looking attractive, looking good, or whatever, having something impressive, look at my nice car, look at all my money. Don't you want a piece of that? That then people will love them. But again, that's only the first step. And possibly a better way, in many cases, to attract someone is to show an interest in them and make them feel good, make them feel important, which is a good sign, because if you're doing that, that's more likely to turn into one of those loves that's a giving love, or and hopefully it'll be reciprocal, but and mutual. But it's not just someone saying, look at me, now give me what I want, give me satisfaction. So show some interest in them, and that can be very attractive. While you're at it, why not fall in love with everybody? Not romantically, that'd be a mess, but when you see someone attractive for any reason, it's because you see something good in them. You see something valuable or interesting to you. And you can do this with anybody. So when you're just on your commute, when you're on the bus, the train, walking across campus, whatever you're doing, why not make a habit of just kind of glancing people as you pass and try to pick out good traits of theirs. Get in the habit of seeing the good in people. Guess what that makes you? A more loving person. It paves the way to see good in people who you really do have relationships with and focus on that. And when you focus on their good, you make it grow. And look, you're already to stage 3 of the love process, or rather the love desires to make people grow and be strong and healthy and happy, right? So do that. Be a more loving person. And people will find that attractive too and probably love you a lot more as well. So it is a win-win-win. I said we were going to start talking about romantic love. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Love at first sight. Now we'll get into a lot more depth on this in a couple chapters away. But when you first see someone and you're just attracted to them, remember that this isn't necessarily love yet, but this is, it triggered something in you. And one of the key things to understand, which you'll understand a lot better a few chapters away when I explain this in depth, is when you just see someone, you're like, oh, I'm in love, I'm so attractive. I want you to know, you don't know that person yet. You haven't met them. All they have is a cute face or body, or a nice body or something. So what you're really actually experiencing is yourself. They're mirroring, they're kind of waking up some part of you, and I'll tell you what that is in other chapters, some part of you that makes you feel complete or whole or alive or excited or good. So this is a really, really useful, valuable understanding, because now you can go around and look at people and feel good and say, hey, that's me. And guess what? That helps you become self-contained. That helps you become solid and less needy. And the more you love yourself and are self-contained, the more you have to give away, and the better relationships you can have. You can connect with somebody who also has love to give away and not just take and need, and it is better all around. So other people, when you find them attractive, they're kind of mirrors to you, because if you didn't have it share a trait that you find attractive in them, it wouldn't mean anything to you. So if you see something that's attractive in them, it means it's part of your soul as well. So take credit for that and enjoy it and make the most of it. It is a huge opportunity just waiting. And It's all over. And almost anybody, you can find attractive things about them. So look for it and become a smarter, wiser, happier, way more secure, solid, etc. person. Oh, here's a good one. Dangerous liaisons. Sometimes you are attracted to the wrong people. And here's one reason why. You've got two brains in your head. One of them is your conscious brain, your prefrontal cortex with all its executive reasoning and abstraction, and it's a problem-solving machine. It's brilliant. It's limited, but it's still really effective. The rest of your brain, your subconscious, it's amazing. It can process billions of things at once. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it's kind of dumb. It's smart in a very different way than your conscious mind. It's so if you happen to be in a state of emotional arousal, excitement, fear, and then you happen to be with someone else, that part of your brain associates them together and says, hey, this person's exciting, I must be in love. Because it is not a smart part of your brain. You've probably heard of Stockholm Syndrome, where people get kidnapped and they fall in love with their kidnappers. Well, why does that happen? Because they're scared, because they are stressed out, and their brain says, hey, heightened emotional arousal state, and there's this person, I must be in love with them. And it makes a connection. Brain wants you to connect to anybody you can to propagate the species. It is not incredibly picky about it. If it thinks somebody's kind of in your league, if they're not married, that might rule them out. If they're not your family, that hopefully definitely rules them out. If your age group or social class where you think, hey, I've got a shot with that person, your brain is willing to try and push you into it. So I'm getting too much into the romantic love chapter, but that's okay. I'll tell you a funny story about that in another chapter. So use your thinking, your conscious mind to make decisions about who you fall in love with, because you might find someone attractive, but if you realize this person is not good for me, they are a taker, they are an abuser, we will not be happy together. I will not be happy, well, and grow in positive ways. Don't turn that into a relationship. Maybe turn it around the other way. That is an important thing to understand. Next step, fall in love with yourself. So we talked about getting good at seeing good traits in other people. Do the same thing with yourself. Invested love to yourself, self-love, is the exact same thing as it is when you invest in other people by finding something interesting and attractive and investing in it and then connecting. I've got a whole chapter about self-love. We'll talk about it more then. But that's a good thing to know. And that's about it. That's all the important steps I've got talking about attraction. We'll talk about a lot more about it, like in the romantic love and the pleasure chapters, but that's the basis. So thanks for listening to another chapter. Do your homework, and we'll see you again for chapter 4 when we talk about love type number 3, pleasure.